We got into the craziest chase the other night, and I even have the audio.
1050, northbound off-ramp.
Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're having a fantastic start of your week so far. I am sorry I have not put out a video anytime recently. However, I have worked the last 7 days, well 7 nights technically, of 12-hour shifts, so needless to say I had no time in between to try to get a video out. I was way too tired and wanted some rest. But here I am back, and I am here with an exciting story for you guys. So, the other night was absolutely crazy. We had people in a white Volkswagen that were seen trying to break into cars in a certain part of our town. So after this information was gathered, it was put out over the radio. The supervisor of that area basically told everybody in the other part of the county to be on the lookout for this vehicle, also pass it on to surrounding agencies in case they spot it. I guess one neighbor came out, they saw them, they confronted them, and they left the neighborhood at a high rate of speed. So a few minutes later, this is all being put over the radio. So a few minutes later, a city unit actually spots this vehicle. Guys, if I don't give you like really detailed specifics about this, it's obviously because it just happened 2 days ago and it's still an active investigation. But I will give you what was put out on the radio. So a city unit spots this vehicle and initiates a traffic stop. And one of our officers gets out with this city officer, well, tries to get out with him. Vehicle keeps on rolling, they're not stopping, and then it happens. They punch it. At this time, I am currently at the station washing my car when this is going on, by the way. So he ends up calling out 1080, and that for us is a chase, either vehicle or on foot. And because all of us were listening to our radio traffic, we all knew if this was in a vehicle. Guys, I am not kidding you. This chase got up to 125 miles an hour. I will just say I went a little bit faster than that to try to catch up. So me and another officer are in a different part of the county, and we are booking it. We are hauling ass, we're both basically going parallel on 2 different roads, and trying to cut the other one off. So we turn off this road that we're hauling ass down, and again, we're trying to cut these people off. Well, they end up turning straight toward us. So we turn around, he becomes the lead vehicle, the first person in the chase. I now become the secondary. Bro, let me tell you, my heart was racing. Still after 11 years, I live for that adrenaline. Love it. So now these idiots have multiple officers that are chasing them, and whoever it was, I will give them, they could drive. Must have played a lot of Grand Theft Auto. But either way, we are chasing them and chasing them and chasing them. And finally it happens. They tried to make a right-hand turn at a high rate of speed and they crashed. So as soon as they crashed, this car actually tumbled, okay? It was a rollover. So I get out of my car and I'm a good, I would say 100 feet away from this car. I'm approaching it at a casual speed because I figured everybody inside was gonna be injured, moaning and groaning, whatever. But as I start walking down this grassy area, I see 3 people running from this car. And I'm like, oh shit. So I start running. I run behind the vehicle. I'm chasing after them. As I'm passing the vehicle, I do a quick glance, make sure nobody's in there. I didn't see anybody, and I'm just running across this grassy field. It had just rained the night before. Actually, it rained a little bit that night too. This particular area, if you guys have ever seen an exit, right? An exit off a highway or an interstate or something like that, you know those really large grassy triangular areas on the off ramps or the on ramps? That's where we were at. So I'm running through this field of thick grass, mud, in a full-on sprint, in full gear. So finally, I catch up to the first 2 people. It's a male and a female. I tell them to get on the ground. The female did not listen right away. She sat on the ground. I told them both face down initially. I won't tell you guys exactly what I told her, but I had a choice word for her, and the second time worked like a charm. She listened. So the officer that was with me catches up, and I asked him to stay with them, and then I go look for the third guy. So I go up this grassy embankment. By this time, guys, I'm gassed. I'm out of energy by now. So I go up this embankment, and I find the third guy that was involved in this chase, get on top of him, tell him to put his hands behind his back. He was perfectly compliant after this. So I handcuffed him, asked him if he needed a squad or something to check him out because, you know, they had just been in a rollover. He said he was good. So the funny part about the whole chase, that's all the excitement, guys, by the way. The rest was transporting them and calling for a tow truck and things like that. I can't give you guys the details of the case. I can't tell you what was wrong with the car. I can't tell you what was in the car, just because this is an active investigation. But I will say this chase was worth it. But the funny part about the whole chase was my partner that was with me that was out running. Most of the other officers were driving, trying to like box them in, right? Me and him were the only ones that actually got out and chased on foot. But the funny part about the whole thing was after this was over, I sat in my car just for a couple minutes to chill out, enjoy the air conditioning because I was hot. And I get out and the sergeant is standing out there. And by this time, like, everybody's in the back of a car, right? So all the officers are standing around congregating or waiting to find out details on like when Georgia State Patrol is going to be there, when the tow truck's going to be there, so on and so forth. So I get out and I talk to him and the sergeant looks at me and she's like, bro, good job. And I was like, oh, I appreciate it. She's like, so-and-so, talking about my partner. She's like, so-and-so said you passed him like he was standing still. Well, another officer comes up to me like 3 minutes later and he says, bro, so-and-so said you passed him like Usain Bolt. Overall, I have to say, guys, this chase was one of the best coordinated, best communicated chases I've ever been a part of. From the initial contact and the initial information that was put out from the sergeant on the other side of town, plus the communication between where I was working and the officers that I was with, everybody was on the same page. And usually with a chase, it depends on where you're working, how often you get into chases, but a lot of times there's just pure commotion on the radio. Like it's just pure panic. It's pure people screaming and yelling, and it's hard to understand what people are saying. I will give it to the main officer that started this chase. He was extremely calm on the radio. I don't know if I've ever heard somebody that calm going 125 miles an hour. So because of his ability to keep himself calm and just casually give the information out, all of us knew what was going on the entire time. He was very good at communicating it. So, special treat for you guys. And this is not something I have ever offered before. I'm not sure if it'll be something I ever offer again, but I might. I actually have the recording of this chase, and I am going to share it with my Patreon subscribers. This is going to be for Patreon subscribers that are $25 or more, mainly because this is a very personal thing. So for my dedicated Patreon subscribers, it will be available to you here in a little while. It's gonna be today. So if you are a Patreon subscriber that is $25 or more on the website, you will have access to this audio file of the chase from early Sunday morning. You don't hear me until towards the end, when I tell everybody that we got all three, and then you hear me asking about shining lights on the embankment that we were on. But either way, it's still pretty exciting to hear. I've already listened to it like 3 or 4 times today. Somebody sent it to me today. So I listened to it a few times. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic week. And like I said, make sure to join us. Right, I'm gonna put it right there. Patreon.com/officer401, and you get inside behind the scenes of a vehicle chase that I was involved in. Again, this is going to be available for the $25 Patreons and above. But either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you guys very, very soon.